Shall we start? Shall we start or should we wait? What happened today? No one is audible. Should we start?
Yes, sir.
Rajeshwari.
Yes, sir. I think we can start.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this is the block number 4 of MES-082, Human Development During Early Childhood. And today's topic is concept of learning. Although in previous sessions we have discussed in detail what is learning. And this particular topic we will discuss or to define what is learning, characteristics of learning, and differentiation between learning and maturation, thinking, behavior, and development. There are 4 terms, and what is the difference between in these terms, and what are the principles and methods of learning, and also different assumptions about learning, then activity, which kind of activity which facilitate the learners in the classroom. First we will take learning. We all are aware that learning shapes our behavior as well as personality. And you know, it is a lifelong process. That's why it is important for our life. Why it is lifelong continuous process? Because it starts from birth and continues till death. Further learning take place through both informal and non-formal settings. Various philosopher, educationist has given the definitions of learning. Let me see some important definitions. Like Henry P. Smith defined that learning is a acquisition of new behavior or new strengthening, weakening of the old behavior as a result of experiences. So the main important learning is what kind of new behaviors and development of their weakness and strength of the child. And second, Gardner Murphy he is also was a great educationist. He has defined that learning covers every modification in behavior. So E. Smith also talk about behavior. He is also going on same direction that learning covers every modifications in behavior, and that too at different ages to meet environmental requirements. Kimball has said that learning is a relatively permanent change in the behavioral potentiality, and that occurs as a result of reinforced practice. Crow and Crow was the sociologist. He also defined what is sociological foundation of education, and here he said that learning is acquisition of habits. Excuse me, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, there was a call. So Crow and Crow said that learning is acquisition of habit, knowledge, and attitude. It involves new way of doing things, and it operates in an individual attempt to overcome obstacles or hindrance, or to just lead just to new situations. It represents progressive change in the behavior. It enable him means enable child to satisfy interest of the attained goals. So if you see, and crow and crow is very near in even present situations. Next is what are the characteristics of learning? You know, learning is lifelong process. Yes, true, but it is not a product. So what is the product? Anybody? If learning is not product, then what is product? Whatever through comes learning means it may be knowledge, education, skills. These are the product of learning. Even behavior of the child is the product of learning. Learning involves all those experience and training of individual means right from birth, which helps in producing change in behavior. This is the second characteristic. It involves modification of behavior through practice and experience. Learning lead to change in behavior, but does not necessarily mean that these change always bring about improvement and positive development. Learning prepare an individual for any adjustment and adaptation means adjustment and adaptations are the outcome of learning. Learning is not mere addition to the knowledge or acquisition of fact and skills through delay and repetition. It's involved reorganization of experience. So learning is reorganization of experience. Learning is an active process. Learning is both individual and social in nature. Means learning take place in school, in society, in home. Learning is purposeful and goal oriented, and the scope of learning is also too wide to explain in word because comes learning starts from birth, and whatever experiences, whatever change in behavior is all called learning. So crow and crow is defined very right definition that learning involves new way of doing, but there is no limit to adapting these ways and means. All learnings does not take place in same manner. Even all learning of all individual may not in same manner because of individual differences. Therefore, learning is a process of different type and involves different methods. It is the equation of habit, knowledge, and attitude. Further, one more important characteristic that learning does not include change in behavior on maturation, fatigue, illness, or drug. So these are the important characteristics of learning, and as a teacher, we should be aware. Next, there are four concept of learning. One is maturation and learning. Means what is the linkage between maturation and learning? So it is to be noted that maturation and learning are closely related, but they are different. You know, after maturations, or you may say through learning, maturation comes in the means learner mature, but every maturation does not come through learning. So because maturation is the natural growth, and that may be independent of training. Further, learning cannot be take place until maturation reach respective stage. Maturation assists in the process of learning. Second is thinking and learning. If we see from outside of the world, and we may say that thinking and learning both may be the same. But defining learning as a result of experience also allowed to be differentiated from thinking. Because thinking can lead to learning, but it is not true vice versa. In fact, compared to learning, thinking is more similar to behavior or performance. And third term is behavior and learning. As per definition, we are discussing that change in behavior is learning. Learning cannot be equated with behavior. This is the another concept or performance. The absence of particular behavior does not mean that an individual does not know anything about it. For the development and learning, one proposed distinction is that learning involves acquisition of any new association, good or bad, whereas development implies a positive progressive movement through higher level. However, some have defined development to include degeneration as well as progressive development. Next is what are the principle of learning? To one is principal learning through imitation. Imitation is tendency to repeat observed action of others. It is one of the most important modes of learning used by the child, because child see the others, then he start imitating behavior, habit, manners, and way of adults. While doing so, they exactly copy the behavior of another adult person without understanding or thinking about it. So, efficient teacher, it is a duty of teacher that wherever it is possible, encourage the learners to imitate manners, ways, methods, and habit of the teacher. So, in this way, the teacher should be a role model so that a student or child may copy and may learn. Learning through conditioned response. We will discuss conditioned theory in next slides. Although modern psychology does not admit the view of all learning is conditioning. Conditioning means reward and punishment, stimulus and response. But it is true that no psychologist deny that importance of conditioned response in the process of learning. Various theory we will discuss in today's sessions, the theories of learning based on this conditioned response. And third is learning through trial and method. And this concept was given by Thorndike. He categorized three conditions: that learner is completely motivated and can see goal clearly. Perceptions also, learned activities also are not sufficient. Sometimes child make perception and whatever he see, he learn through this trial and method. To some in some activities he learn many things and some he or she may not, because he did various errors. The learners fail to find the solution of the problems. But concept is clear that trial and error exist in learning process. Fourth is learning through insight, and it has four characters, and it is sudden. Learning comes sudden. Learning also alert perception. Child have some specific perception towards the things, but after learning of related knowledge, he may have he will be change his or her perception. Old object appear in new pattern, and organization by virtue of insight. Because of insight, there is a collaboration between old and new this knowledge. Further, it is related to intellectual level. The insight gains in particular circumstances is of assistance of other circumstances, because for learning various circumstances collaborate to each other. Next, there are some assumptions, and Edward was the one of them. He has some views about learning. He said that all individuals of any persons of at all age have the potential to learn. That's why it has been widely and collectively considered that learning is lifelong process. Although the speed and level of learning may not be same, that may be the same. So, various factors may affect learning, but learning is continuous. Second is an individual when experiencing a change such as a new learning situations is likely to feel stress and confusion because new learning may viewed by learner some kind of stress, confusion, even fear, even happiness. Third is in classroom, a teacher facilitate learning by incorporating students' experience, observations, and personal ideas and feeling. The depth of long-term learning may depend on the extent to which learners try to analyze, clarify, articulate their experience to others in their family, work, and social groups. Learning improves when the learner is an active participant in the process. So these are the assumptions given by Edward. Further, John and other views also, they said that learning is goal oriented. Goal oriented means curriculum is given, course is given, syllabus is given, so it is goal oriented. Learning involved linking of new information, but with the help of prior education, means pre-education or prior education is a base for new knowledge and both have linking linkage. Learning involves organizing information. Child has information, but after learning, he or she is able to organize the informations. Learning is the acquisition of cognitive and metacognitive structures. Yes, learning occurs in phase. In phase means stage wise. Infancy, childhood, post childhood, adolescence. Therefore, it is non-linear because in every stage, learning capacity is not same. Learning is influenced by cognitive development. Yes, because cognitive development at every level is different. So, how preschool can nurture in learning? Most of and we have discussed that play as the base of learning. If we talk preschool, then we are aware that playway method in this particular stage is the best method of teaching because play is natural, spontaneous, attractive, enjoyable, rewarding, even self-initiated, and various stimulus, curiosity, exploration even leading capacity, even creativity, social skills, all comes through playway method. Second, art is also important. Art also make learning joyful. Art means art, maybe song, maybe physical exercise, maybe kind of movement, maybe sketching the figures. Further, learning recognize the special features of children thinking, because children have natural desire and capacity to learn and to make sense of the world around them. Next is blend of textual. Textual means basic literacy and numeracy as well as culture. So learning the vocabulary of quantity, heavy, light, more, less, means kind of comparison, few, many, and understanding the differences. Further, we all are aware that learning is kind of mix of formal and informal interaction. Children must feel safe and should be able to express themselves without fear of identity. Such security is possible only in if the child experience familiarity. Next is experience of both familiarity and challenge in every routine. Learning is prima facie of experience rather than expertise. Learning also a kind of practice and flexibility also. Further, best learning comes through by using the local material, even local arts, local knowledge, local language, through local examples. And last but not least, integration of health and well-being based on healthy habit. So this is the duty of preschool learning. Next unit is what are the approaches to human learning? Contribution of behaviorist, cognitivist, and constructivist psychologist. Although we have in education psychology, we have discussed theory of classroom, theory of learning, the way of promote learning, readiness. Further, the role of home, preschool teachers, parents. Although some we have discussed in previous session. So let us see. Behaviorist means who think that learning is the change of behavior. And most of the psychologists means Pavlov also about this opinion, Skinner, Watson, Thorndike. And we should learn a very interesting theory, that is classical conditioning theory. Classical conditioning theory was given by Pavlov, Ivan Pavlov, and he was the Russian psychologist, conducted many study on the digestion of the food, and he has taken example of dog. And he has noticed that phenomenon of secretion of saliva in dog on side of food or sound of the caretaker's arrival. So there is a story. Pavlov was having a dog and he used to give food to the dog, but after ringing a bell. And he did this practice many times. And one day he just rang the bell and gave empty food to the dog, but dog did same response because stimulus was given to him. So here there are four terms. Unconditional stimulus, what it is? A stimulus which automatically produce a response. Means when bell was ring, then dog thought that food is coming. So saliva was the natural, automatical process. Conditional, a previously natural stimulus means with bell the food will come to the dog. Unconditional response means it is a natural response automatically elicited due to the unconditional stimulus. खाना बैल बजेगा तो खाना आएगा. Conditional response, a learned response on the conditional stimulus that occurs after pairing it with the unconditional stimulus. Means अगर बैल बजा है, if the bell is ring and the person is coming with pot, then dog shows that conditional response, definitely food will be there, and he started secretion of saliva. So that was the behaviorist approach of Pavlov. And what are the educational implications of classical conditioning based on stimulus and response? So classical conditioning can be involved in both positive and negative experiences of the children. If the children are being criticized in the classroom, they develop fear and their originality of thought and action will be lost. If the child is exposed to repeated failure experience in the test, then she or he may develop test anxiety gradually. Result negative. A teacher should take care that the classroom should be felt as safe place for a child to play a express creativity. Learners should get pleasant, encouraging experience and connect with all activities relating to learning. I am just giving very simple example. If the teacher is coming to teach in the classroom, if the teacher is little hard and little disciplined, then if the teacher is not come any particular day, but the class will be attentive because they know whose class is there. In another way, if the teacher is joyful, even teacher is not present in the classroom, the child wait for the teacher. Yes, with a smiling face, the teacher will come. So whatever he or she expressed based on past experience. So next theory is given by operant conditioning. Earlier was classical conditioning, then second is operant conditioning, and B.F. Skinner and E.L. Thorndike, who was given operant condition and who was the opinion about this theory. So Skinner, he also did some experiment based on reinforcement, punishment lead to change in the probability of occurrence of the behavior. And there may be two type of reinforcement, positive and negative. Positive reinforcement means reward, and negative reinforcement means punishment. He did experiment on what would say, I forget his name. I will tell you if I remember. So this reward and punishment, what is the implications of this theory? Because of reward and punishment, it is useful for increasing desirable behavior, in shaping behaviors, and decreasing undesirable behaviors. In classroom, if teachers say, yes, very good, excellent, the learner become more attentive and he increase learning. That's why the behavior change in positive direction. One of the behaviorist, Centrock, also giving some strategies for learning. Means he said that choose effective reinforcer and make reinforcer contingent and timely. Select the best schedule of reinforcement. It is not good every time. Yes, you are good, you are good, you are good. No, you are so lazy. No. There should be best schedule. If the learner is doing well, if the learner is not doing well, appropriately reinforcement may be used. Consider contracting. Use negative reinforcement effectively if the learner is not in position to learn, and use prompt and shaping. So this theory given by Santrock based on reinforcement for learning improvement. There's social learning theory, means social cognitive approach, and in this particular theory, Bandura was the name. He was the sociologist, and his theory was known as Bandura social learning theory, and that highlight the importance of observation and modeling behaviors, attitudes, and response of other. He states, fortunately, most human behavior is learned observationally through modeling from observe one form of idea of how new behaviors are formed, and he has made kind of small chart that observational learnings comes through attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. All are aware that attention is a process of listening or looking, and for effective learning, it is essential to give attention on the performance of the model. Retention means it is means easy to be continuous. Reproduction, when an individual translate the image or description into actual behavior, it is known as ability to reproduce of the behavior of the model with accuracy. Motivation, we all are aware, it is the kind of way to give the stimulus to the child for capacity retention and reproduction. Next is implications of social learning theory of Bandura. He said that children learn to a great deal by observing other. Becoming aware of the consequences of behavior is an effective means to increase the appropriate behavior and decrease inappropriate behaviors. Modeling provide efficient mean of teaching new behavior. Teacher and parents must act as good role for practicing model appropriate behavior. Children should be exposed to a variety of other models, and it will help in breaking down traditional stereotypes. Teacher can enhance self-efficiency by giving children confidence building message. And that confidence comes through reinforcement. Teachers should help children set realistic expectations for their academic achievement. Self-regulation techniques also provide an effective method for improving children's behavior. So these were the classroom implications of social learning theory of Bandura. After behaviorism, one approach, one more approach is there, constructivism. And Jean Piaget, we have learned a lot. Their stages and the learning experience. He did experiment on his own child. But we should learn what are the three assumptions based on Piaget's cognitive theory. He said, knowledge is a result of ever-changing interactions between individual and their environment. As per his theory, knowledge is consistently being constructed and reconstructed from prior and new experiences. Cognitive growth is self-regulating within the individual and within the individual and the interactions of the physical and social development. And Piaget's theory has most important implications on teaching as well as learning, because this theory is nicely accepted by the educationist, by the philosopher, by the psychologist, because it is based on natural learning, natural stages of learning. Further, Vygotsky we have also discussed. He was also one constructivist approach follower. He has also given two basic principles, although we have learned Vygotsky And what was his opinion about learning? He said that language play an important role in the mental development and importance of the social interactions within the context of learning. And the Vygotsky implications on education and importance outcomes of the theory is an instructional strategy based on the ZPD. ZPD was the model of learning. Further, curriculum transaction in constructivist paradigms and important implications of theory. It is being utilized, it is being used in classroom management and organization. Next is learning readiness. This theory was given by Malcolm Wood, and he has characterized four important points, and that are uh, based on that the child learns effectively from classroom interaction. Means disposition for learning, adequate cognitive functioning, adequate knowledge base for content being presented, and adequate study skill and strategy. If you remember, in first day we discussed in all. So, what may be the implications of this readiness theory in preschools? A preschool require to have certain basic skills apart from you know since birth, toilet training, washing hand, even cleaning habits, painting, eating, many activities. And as per the theory of readiness, that child able to spend time away from parents, able to work on project on their own, means kind of responsibility and leadership, ready to participate in group activities, socialization of child, able to keep a regular schedule, kind of discipline, having the physical stamina for preschool, means physical development of the child. Further, learner this learning readiness can accelerate it through various activities. Play more plan more social activities in teaching learning, give a sense what to expect. Even as a teacher, read to your child every day, practice listening skill, and nurture the artist. So, as a teacher, by using this learning theory of readiness, the learning can be accelerated through these activities. Preschool as a home, home is the first school. If we take vice versa, preschool is also can considered as a home. And to prove that, then Okada Maricu in 1982 has given following recommendations on the role of family. They said family is kind of heart, and it is the place where one can draw a breath of relief from the outside the world. Even after a child enter preschool, family must take special care to be sure that it is a place to relax. Means family members should not visit many times to the school or every time. Family should prepare the child to adopt the society. Family should create an environment that child should develop good social habits. Good morning, thank you, etc. And most of important that mother should train the child to be self-reliant. Further, if we summarize based on uh, a recommendation of Okada and Mariku, that in preschool, parents play an extremely important supporting role. They are expected to be active in preschool relative activities like parent teacher association meetings. The parent interest in the desire to assist their child education is explicitly challenged. Means it is the role of family members or parents to visit the school whenever they have been invited through PTM, and there should be coordination of home and preschool. The preschool is the bridge between home and school. So there should be good coordination between the home and preschool because it is very crucial for solving learning readiness problems of the child, and they should support in their desiring development. Next is education is for individual differences. We are talking about that there are there may be the individual difference between the child, and therefore we said that there should be teaching learning processing should be based on the individual differences. So we go in detail, and in this unit we will discuss what is the meaning of individual differences, what are the factors responsible for developing individual differences, and what are the strategies to cater these differences, various types of group difference, and characteristics of different types of exceptional learner. So first, individual difference is what it is. No one is similar. Each one of us differs inherently from others on the basis of size, color, shape, sex, style of working, and any more other motor abilities. So each individual is biologically or genetically different from other, and this phenomena is known as individual differences. Even this is a fact that no two children have identical environment influence, even identical twins. There are some important areas for these differences. Means individual difference can take place because of many important areas like intelligence. The intelligence means IQ level of the children may be different. Even the way of thinking their ideas, their opinion means aptitude may also be different. Motivations also, because of motivations, individual difference take place. Even because of learning and thinking styles, the individual difference can be seen. Because of temperaments of the child, there are individual difference. Because of personality, there are individual difference. Because of their attitude, means way of thinking and as well as opinion. This is one of the important factor for individual differences. Interest, because of interest of the child, they may be individual from each other, and because of values, they may be individually different. So we will discuss out of these 8 to 9 different major areas. We will discuss some in more detail, like intelligences. Although we have discussed IQ levels, and because of IQ levels, individual difference take place. In next slide, I have shown that IQ range, and because of this IQ range, individual difference found. If the IQ level is less than 20, then you know the for child learning becomes very difficult. If 20 to 34, severe learning difficulty; 35 to 49, moderate learning difficulty; 50 to 69, mild learning difficulty; and 70 to 9, low, normal; and 90 to 109, the child is normal to learn. And most of the maximum population comes into 90 to 109. 1110 to 129, high normal, means achievers, and 130 plus are very few, called genius. And as a teacher, for the group of individually different learners, what teacher has to do? So first, as a teacher, carefully diagnose the strength and weakness of the child with regard to their intelligence, and accordingly plan and organize the learning activities. You may frame the groups, and you may use the appropriate teaching methodology, even uh, involvement of some in creative activities to handle the classroom situation. Monitor the work of each child. If the learner is slow, then teacher should correct the mistakes of the child. Provide assistance when needed. See that every child is getting maximum opportunity for development, because it is a right of individual, and he or she should get opportunity to learn. And individual teaching is necessary for backward children. Further, evaluate final work of each child. So IQ is different, and because of IQ, individual different is there in the child. Therefore, the role of teacher become important in the manners that we have discussed. And because of temperament, individual difference may take place, as easy child who is generally in a positive mood and can easily adapt the new experiences. If the child who tends to react negatively has aggressive tendencies, lack self control, and is slow to adopt new experiences. This is the second type of child. And third is a slow to warm up child who is a low activity level, so low adaptability, and display a low intensity of mood. So because of temperament, there may be individual differences. Because of personality, there may be individual differences. Personality is, the word comes from persona means the face which is shown, although the correct definition is personality is, it also include the behavior and the face or shape of the body, emotions. So personality is a very complex phenomena of the child, and it has various trait inbuilt. So we are talking about the individual differences because of personality. So there are five factors, means openness, consciousness, extraversion, and agreeableness and emotional stability. So because of these five quality and personality, their individual difference may be found in the child. Next is, what are the exceptional learners? The word exceptionals represent a kind of significant deviation from the normal happiness. Normal happenings means the child is different from normal, is called exceptional child. So exceptional child are different from the average or normal child in their physical or psychological traits. There are some factors which influence this difference. How noticeable the difference is, means difference maybe in physical, maybe in psychological. How parents and other adults react to the differences. How age mates react to the differences. How being different affects personal and social adjustments. Because the child is exceptional. He has not even average, even normal. So how being different affect doing what others do. How being different affect the child's self-concept. How meaning the child put on being different. Exceptional means genius is also exceptional child. If the child is genius, he is exceptional. And for exceptional teacher can develop a positive attitude by discouraging other children to make fun or teach children who are different. They have to develop, means teacher have to develop a friendly, accepting and kind attitude towards exceptional child. Next, what are the exceptional types? There are two types of defined by the educationist and psychologist. One is gifted, and gifted means genius. Gift, Gifted children have average intelligence, that is IQ 130 plus, and 130 plus IQ level child is called genius. So it is seen that these children also have a talent in some domain, such as art, music, or mathematics, or even many other areas. It is generally observed that a gifted child begin to master an area earlier than their peers and they learn in different way. Means gifted child may be the master of any subject, any quality, any skills. And the second exceptional are the children with disability. Disability may be the various kind, means children with sensory disorders, children with physical disabilities, mentally challenged children, children with attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder. So exceptional is means gifted and disabled, and for these type of children, the teacher should have to use different kind of methodology of teaching and different. Even he should create a conducive environment of the classroom. The next topic is, although we have discussed what is creative, so the role of creative activity, why we should involve the learners in creative activities, what is the role in school learning, and this in this topic we will discuss the significance of creative learning for overall development of the child, and we'll try to learn a capability to play, children's capability to play together, to be creative and responsive to the environment, and what are the appropriate creative activities in preschool, even different values of creative activities. So quickly we go. Characteristics of preschool children. The importance of creative activity was first stressed by Susan Isaac. We have learned in previous slides, previous sessions. And a pioneer in the field of education who says that delight in making and inventing things with every sort of material coming their hands in unceasing. Means Susan said that anything and everything is pressed into the service according to the purpose of the moment and the skill of the children. He always advocated about the children for do some kind of creativity because hands cannot be inactive and nor imagination fertile as long as children are free to make and to do. So he has defined the chief characteristics of preschool child, that they are curious and spontaneous. Means childs are curious and spontaneous to learn because of creative activities, eager to learn because of active role of teachers motivating for creative activity, respond with interest to new things, and new things comes through creative creative activities which was motivated by the teacher under his supervision, his or her supervision, like to play and dance, and ability to learn. These are the chief characteristics of creativity, and because of creativity, child, what is the role of child, and what is the place of child. We discussed the meaning of creativity means kind do something new, or although if you see earlier age, the concept of creativity was linked with the concept of imagination, but in 4th century, they become to the discussion about creativity into the sciences. So, what is the creativity? It is ability to see and to respond. It is a state of mind which can be expressed through a wide variety of responses. Creativity is an ability to see new relationship between previously unrelated object or ideas, to push boundaries beyond present knowledge, and to organize ideas aesthetically. Originality in action or thought in thought is creativity. Various definitions given by various psychologists of creativity. A Webster defined creativity is the ability or power to create or bring into existence, to invest a new form, to produce through imaginative skill. Spearman, he said that creativity is the power of the human mind and to create new content by transforming relations and thereby generating new correlates. So many definitions given by the educationist as well as psychologist. So what Maslow said, Maslow has given needs hierarchy theory. So his definition may be one important of one. According to Maslow, a product may be a creative one if it is new or novel to the individual involved. If it is his creation, means child creation. If it is expressive to the child, if it is social recognition or cultural impact, but the impact may be zero sometimes. But if it is a unique personal experience, it is creative. If you remember the movie, this what Three Idiots, one student made some creative, but as far as his teacher opinion, that was not useful for the project, but he did some creative work. So that is talked about here. Any creativity, any creative things may not have social recognition and cultural impact, but if it is unique, is creative. Next is, what are the importance of creative activities for preschool learning? Creative work is very important to development imagination in preschool children. Creativity start in smaller age. After adolescence or even aged, in old age, creativity becomes slow. So creativity is a natural bliss and can be developed through education. Every child has basic need to know, learn and to seek knowledge. He gain a strong sense of intellectual security in the realization that he or she knows. Equally as important, he or she need to let others know. Learner want to express and reveal his knowledge. Can I do? I can do. I know how to do. These are the familiar statements made by the children throughout childhood. Even the psychological process of small children differ from those of adult. In order to learn, a child needs concrete objects. He need to touch things, see them, bring them, and that comes because of creative activities, practical activities. A creative child will have to following characteristics means noble thoughts. He should be able. He should be good enough for expression. His actions and behaviors. Creative child ask many questions to clear their doubt. They argue for his or their points. So curious and independent in judgment. So these are the quality or characteristics of creative child. You know how creativity can be developed, and a child may be involved in drawing, coloring and painting, and after doing activity they start to do some creative work. Tearing, cutting and pasting, these are the basic activities which has to be a part of curriculum or classroom learning. Clay modeling, creative movement, creative thinking. Creative thinking means he should be given some kind of examples and some kind of story for their creative thinking. Next, developing creative learning environment. As a teacher, how we can create the learning environment for developing the creativity. So while planning an environment for creative learning, as a teacher, we all must consider two important aspects. One is the program should be related to the individual and group needs cognial for all round development and motivated by creative initiative of the young learner. Further, the material and media need to be readily available and carefully arranged to motivate means stimulus and reinforcements is also working there, and to initiate creative learning, drawing, coloring and painting. So as a teacher, we can create a creative environment for creative learning. So what is the role of teacher in developing teacher? Very quickly, general appearance and address means teacher should have to have reinforcement, suppose enthusiasm, friendliness, appropriateness in dress also. Speech, the speech of teacher should be kind of soft, motivating. Adaptability, teacher should adapt the learning situations and should motivate the learners to learn new things. Imaginations means to involve the learner for creativity, for creative work, even live in the child's world. Sense of humor, teacher should have sense of humor. Teacher should be a ethical standard means reliable. He should be reliable. He or she should be loyal. Even should have the quality of integrity. He should be have a good health. Emotional control. This is the important quality of teacher should have for developing the creativity among the childs. Leadership, yes, of course, a teacher should be play a role model for the child, and leadership involved the originality, vision, initiation, judgment, sense of responsibility, and he or she should be sympathetic and empathic enough. Persistence and capacity to work. Teacher has to work with the child. It is not only that he guide, he uh, direct something and just watch. No, he should be involved. He should have the capacity for work. This is next unit, social developments in preschool. Although we have discussed social development as well as development, what is new in this particular topic? Social development. We have learned here. We will discuss the social adjustment and what are its significance, importance of peer relationship in social adjustment, skills which are essential for social adjustment, and different factors. What are the different factors influence social adjustment, and further the development of social norms and rules. I think this is the last slide. So, what is the significance of social adjustment? Social adjustment means acquisition of the ability to behave in accordance with social expectations. There are social norms, and child has to be developed to adjust within the social expectation and social norms. Every social group has its standards and what is approved behavior for its members. To become socialized, children must not only know what is approved behavior, but they must also model their own behavior according to the approved behaviors. Social adjustment is the adaptation of an individual to the social environment, means adjustment with the social expectations or approved behaviors. And second is social environment. His learner child should be adaptable, child should be adjustable for social environment. Adjustment may take place either by adapting self to the environment or by changing the environment. For proper social adjustment, the children should have good peer relationship, proper physical and intellectual and emotional development. So adjustment demand socially accepted, social environment adjusted, good relationship, good health, having intellectual and emotional values. You know, the peer relationship is very important. Peer means as a friend. Children have some group, small group of one or two friend, that is called peer group. But here children becomes their lives in social world of their families. However, as they mature, they are introduced to a social world of peers and spends increasing amounts of time with kids their own age, and that own age is known as peer group. This relationship shared by children in the same age, same range, because they play in a social development, And in the last previous, we learned that if the peer group is in different peer group has been defined, if 12 more than 12 to this 15 or 16 was peer group was named gang, yes, young gang, young child gang. But peer relationships has some important things also, like it help in fostering positive feelings through friendship, contributing to school adjustment. Further, it's provide opportunity to learn about the self and for the development of new social skills. This is the importance of peer relationship. So, skills for social adjustment. One is self-help skills. Second is social help skills, play skills, and work skills. If the child has the quality to have all four skills, is socially adjust. So first is self help skill. These skills help children to do things for themselves. For example, self batting, self dressing, self feeding. Social help skills, which is with the help of these, children learn to help others. For example, helping mother to put away clothes, toys, helping make beds, help in home activities, even help in social means games, active participation in social games also. Play skill. These skill make it possible to do things they enjoy. For example, throwing and catching balls, skipping, riding bicycle, etc. Work skill. These help skill that make a child to do some activity. The activity may be include pleasure or not. The important thing of is the reward the person receive from the activity, and it can be form of a grade in school. So these four are important skill for social adjustment of the child. Physical growth and social adjustment. Physical growth we have developed, we have learned, we have discussed in earlier session. A child physical growth during in early childhood years is different from the growth during babyhood and many other age, like later babyhood, late babyhood, and adolescence, and even teenage. Growth at every stage are different. Physical development is different. So let us understand the main aspect of physical growth and its relationship with social adjustment. One is body proportion. Second is illness, physical defects. These are the three important factors which affect the social development of the child. If the child is more taller and more smaller, this is the body proportion. Sometimes child is weak and always feel illness, even having some physical defects. So these are the factor influence social adjustment in the child. Next is intellectual development and social adjustment. Social adjustment depends to great extent on intelligence of individual. We have discussed that children may intellectually different because of even because of their IQ and their level of learning. Some are bright, some are slow learner, and some are average. And the main reason may be because of heredity and environment, because these two factors play a great role in the intellectual development of the child. Further, nutrition and stimulation also important factor that have great effect on the child's intellectual development. As far as social adjustment require the ability to reason and to take decision. If the learner is intellectually good, then he will be able to take reasonably good decision. So social adjustment of that intellectual child will be good better than others. But children should be allowed and trained to take decision, and it is a role of teacher to mentor the child time and again, because which toy they would like to play with, whether they want to hear a story or look a book. This is the second example. Child want to learn with the play, and we are taking class for telling a story or for motivating to read the book. So teacher's role is important. Next is, oh, continuous. So you are familiar with the fact that emotional development is result of both maturing and learning. Parents and teachers should try to guide the development of emotion in their child. They should provide their child positive learning experience, and this will lead to development of positive emotions. You know, the emotions of children may differ because of their age, because of their environment, because of their level of learning. So emotional even emotions also play very important for social adjustment of the child. And further, you know, what are the reason for emotions? There may be the emotions of fear, there may be the emotions of jealousy, there may be the emotions of love, may be the emotions of happiness. And these emotions can be controlled, can be inculcated, can be cured by the joint role of parents as well as teachers. Next, personality. You know, personality is also one of the factor for social adjustment, as we have discussed in detail that because of personality, the child may be socially adjusted or not, and personality having the group of traits. So even on the adjustment effect of home environment, there is a important effect of home environment on personality, and personality has effect on adjustment. Therefore, home environment and adjustments are linked. So during the early years of life, family members are responsible for the development of self concept, personality traits in the children. Therefore, the home environment play an important role. An ideal home environment which promotes development comprises the personality all members who are happy and friendly. Every family member is respected and given rights and responsibilities suited to their ages. Means if the family environment is good, the personality of the child becomes strong, becomes uh, differently from others, and therefore it is linked with the social adjustment also. Developing companionship, interest in companions becomes early in babyhood but increase rapidly in early childhood. So companionship have important effect on their life, and it also affect in social and personal adjustment. Means it is the one of the important factor for social adjustment of the child. So what are the social norms and rules for the development? Social norms are the behavior and cues within a society or group. They are the rule that the preschool children use for appropriate and inappropriate values, beliefs, attitudes, behaviors. Sometimes behaviors failure of which can result in severe punishment, even in including exclusion from the group. Some popular preschool activities are encouraged good social relationship, which are means peer group plays like sitting in circle. The children are sitting in the circle, and there is a preschool tradition where children are asked question about themselves, respond and learn about other in the class. So newcomers are also introduced and welcomes in the classroom. Drama and theme days. A popular story can be acted out by the children during the reading time or the other theme days. Creating a collage, another group activity which calls for sharing, give and take, and coordination of ideas. Next. So this is today's activity, today's things. But if time permit, I think there are 20 minutes. One of friend has said that I think I left some unit, so I gone through very carefully, and so yes, I left one topic. So quickly, I should be discuss this also. Yeah. This was fourth block of MES-81. So quickly, provision of childhood education in different countries, because childhood education play important role for child education. So every country has the provision for childhood education in different forms. Although in India it was legalized It is legalized through NEP 2020, although various preschools were running, but through childhood care education, it is legalized. A global perspective, if we remember our previous classes, that childhood education was having important role in every country, even various national and international organizations jointly advocated that there should be provision for childhood education. Even education for all was also introduced. Even in program of action in 1992, the provisions was there for pre-child education, preschool child education. Further, if you remember, even pre-independence in India, Montessori, Maria Montessori came into the India, and she started preschools named as this Montessori schools. Frobel also started kindergarten schools. Many efforts have done at global level. Next, what is UK? What is the provision in UK, United Kingdom? Because many countries have various provisions for early childhood care education. So early childhood care and education for young children started in England in late 18th century on a voluntary and philanthropic basis. Since the second half of the 20th century, with the realization of the importance of early childhood education, so serious thought has been given to it. And in 1960, playgroup, a new provision for preschools were initiated, and preschools in UK follow certain goals of education. These goals pertain to certain areas of education which are not equivalent to the subject. These are means in preschools, personal, social, and emotional development should take place. There should be a focus on language, literacy, and communication development. Even child should be mathematically developed. Knowledge and understanding of the word should also be given in the preschool to the child. And the activities for the physical development may also be included, means special emphasis should be given for physical development of the child. And foremost important is creative development should also be focused in preschools of UKs. So what was the in USA? Children under fives are provided with facility to attend nursery classes to infant schools. Means in UK there was a preschool, and in USA there are named as infant school. Kindergarten schools also were there to cater their education to children between the age group of 3 to 6. So many states of USA accepted it as the first primary unit of education, and every state government has legalization for providing the assistant setting up the kindergarten schools. The state government have appointed officers and experts for guidance and inspections of these schools. In some state office, special teachers are recruited for looking after the kindergarten schools. for the special training for kindergarten schools. Even in India is being provided. There is one more good concept: daycare versus preschools. In the United States, as in many other countries, there has been a split in approach between child care centers and preschools. And these child care centers are designed to meet the child care needs of the working parents. Even in India, we say the crutch, the child. These schools like crutch in India, while preschools are designed as first social and academic program for children whose parents have fixed schedule. So day care centers generally take children as young as 6 week and are open 8 to 12 hour a day year around. So this concept is basically useful for working family members. In USA, the concept is even Germany. In Germany, the main range of service consists of day facilities for the children, facilities for 3 to 6 years old children means in nurseries, all the elementary area of the education system. Each child in this age group has a legal right to place in these nurseries. Day facilities for children means in the form of early child care education. Even official umbrella term covering all form of institutions, public care, education, child raising before and in addition to school. So day nurseries are for children under the age of 3 years up to 6 years. And two fundamental principles, political principles underlies the organization funding and the regulation of early childhood policy in Germany. Name, federalism, subsidiary. So this is the concept of this. We should go quickly. What is France? Unlike in many countries, preschool education has a long tradition in France. As early in 1771, there were nighting schools for 4 to 7 year old children, and new institutions known as Sales Day Asile. These were started in 19th century and were developed throughout the 19th century. And these asylums were primarily intended for children from poor families who were perceived as being a danger in their home. So, starting in 1828, the state began to organize these private charity works. The goal was to teach children order, cleanliness, and respect to prepare them for an honest, decent Christian life. The first Republican government passed several schools law related to the separation of church and state. But finally, the state assumed responsibility for the organization and financing of education for 2 to 6 years under the auspices of the Ministry of Public Instruction. And what is in Australia? Responsibility for preschool in New South Wales and Victoria lies with Department of Community Services and the Department of Human Services respectively. Means both are having joint responsibility for preschools. So preschool in Australia is known as kindergarten in some state and some territories in Australia is relatively unregulated and it is not compulsory. The first exposure many Australian children have for learning with other outside of traditional parenting is daycare and parents run playgroup. So this is kind of provision in Australia. Next is Japan. In Japan, early child care education has been traditionally divided into two systems. One is kindergarten for 3 years, and second is day nursery. So, thus the system of early childhood education in Japan is quite extensive. Kindergarten are not compulsory schools intended to help the infant to develop their mind and bodies by providing them with appropriate educative environment. These course of study for kindergarten sets forth specific objective to be achieved by the children. These objectives and corresponding content are set forth in each of the five aspects of children development means health, human relations, environment, language and expressions, and all objectives and relative contents are to be achieved through children's play and other activities. Next, what is China? According to China, the importance of preschool education, even in urban areas, preschool education is provided mainly by kindergartens. Means if you see the kindergartens schools are all around the world, and the rural areas pre-education schools is mainly imparted at nursery classes and seasonal kindergartens. Beside the normal preschool education, there are other forms such as children activity centers, games groups, mobile service called Caravan, and the like. The state has regulations for the management of kindergartens, also qualifications for kindergarten teachers. Children 6 years of age are admitted in the first grade. There are three types of early childhood programs for the children till then: nurseries, kindergartens, and pre-primary program. Nurseries are meant for children under the age of 3. Small groups are carved by the trained worker who functions more as nurse and cares give as a teachers. So this about the China. Yes, early childhood education in India we have discussed that many commissions had came and many commissions has given several recommendations that we have discussed in 1986 national policy of Indian education was considered early childhood care education as a critical input for holistic development, and even in national education policy 2020 it has many provisions for the early childhood care education. We have discussed the constitutional provisions, Article 14, Article 39, Article 45 in even Right to Education Act. There are many provisions for promoting and encouraging and providing facilities to the children for their education. Even many state uh, activities and state provisions like education for all, Lok Jumbis, this Shiksha Karmi, basic education project. There are so many provisions in India are there for promoting the early child care education in India. So next unit is preschool education. So what are the types of preschool in India and outside India? What are the development of preschool in India, and what are the cause of slow progress of preschool education in India? So quickly we go. We have discussed these three types of primary school: kindergarten, Montessori, and nursery. Kindergarten was developed by Frobel. Montessori was Montessori schools by Maria Montessori, and nursery schools are just kind of after play group. So these all we have discussed. What is the significance of preschools? We have discussed for the all-round development of the child from the early age. This we have discussed, and national education policy on education also we have discussed in detail. Historical development, development of preschool education in West. So preschool education as an organized system to barely 200 years old, but educationists and philosophers had advocated its need long back. Even many Indian philosopher and Western philosopher have given philosophy and recommendations for early child care education. Development of preschool education in India, Montessori, we have discussed. After this pre-independence, there was the Christian missionaries. They were intent to open preschools, and their aim was like to promote the philosophy, and the Christian missionary did some pioneering work in this area in India. Means they started preschool education and given various theory. Means learning play important role from conception to birth to half. So that we have discussed already. Recommendations of various committees and commissions. If we see the holistic recommendations of various committees, so there should be a kind of acting and signing role of child. They should be involved in practice exercise, should be involved in games and dancing. They should be aware about the care of flowers, animals, and they should feel love with them, and they should be involved in drawing and making things. Next is, although we have discussed what were the problems and what are the problems even in preschool education, yes, financial problem is there. There are very small budget for preschool education, problem of expansion, problem of control, problem of curriculum, problem of trained staff. Staff may be arranged, but trained staff is very typical task for preschool education. Necessary equipment, because in preschool playway method is the most important method, but for that method equipment, arrangement of equipment may not be very easy. Problem in research and experimentation, even awareness is very low level. Many of parents are not aware about the importance of preschool education. Problem of educational cost and problem of priority, because for some parents preschool education is not on priority. Next is this preparation of teachers for preschool education. So there is an important role of teacher education and importance of preschool education teachers. Teacher education, they should be aware about the understanding of the individual. They should be aware building confidence, methodology of teaching, building of favorable attitude toward teaching as well as towards learner, familiarizing with the latest education, familiarizing with the school organization, creating social insights, improving standard in education, and training for democracy. It should the important role of teacher education. Importance for school teachers, preschool teachers, yes, because he or she is dealing with the child age to 3 to 6 year. So therefore, it is the objective of teacher education to prepare teachers for helping physical, mental, and social, emotional, and many aesthetic and linguistic development of the child, to impart them to relevant knowledge of the child psychology. Yes, of course. And he should be aware about the child psychology as well as the cultural anthropology, to develop among them the capacity and desire for the obtaining parental cooperation, and how to get parental cooperation. He should be aware about that also, to empower them to organize educational games and supplementary activities for the children, to provide abilities for the arranging field trip for their learning environment, to enable teacher for preparing, selecting, and using different kind of materials at low cost, because there is a big challenge for equipment for pre-planning, pre-education. So teacher should be trained to prepare a low cost material for the learning of the child, to empower the teacher to develop the concept self-esteem, to enable teacher to develop the environment awareness about children, to empower the teacher by developing abilities for art of living good life. So these should comes into the every teacher of preschool, early child education, and teacher education. There is a curriculum framework. Even NCT suggests some rules, but even NCRT is having National Curriculum Framework 2005, and one is coming based on the recommendation of New Education Policy 2020. So, curriculum framework, the awareness and training should be given to the teachers about the curriculum framework. What should be the curriculum? Means reading, writing, or arithmetic should also be involved in the teaching learning process. Next, pedagogy. Yes, pedagogy also be taught to the teachers for the effective teaching learning. Even NCT has also proposed following program in the field of early child care education. Means there should be a certificate in early child care education, and should be diploma in early child care education. Even some postgraduate programs should also be done. And out of these four, there are few programs in practice. Even your program is also somehow the kind of PG diploma in related areas. Although diploma in early child care education is also one of them, and which is run by even NIUS, even in this NCRT, and even through IGNU also. So training capacity building of early child care education. So it is the duty of training institute or recommendations of uh, pre-education school authority, or means teachers should be given, can be given at even in primary level and it will in service. So both type of programs are there, pre-service course and in-service course, and both type of programs, even in-service and pre-service course, are run by the various organization and department. Like early child education diploma certificate course is being offered by IGNU and IUS and several state open universities for in-service teacher. So no need to define what is preschool teacher. Preschool teacher deals the age of 3 to 6 years and imparting knowledge among the child. So responsibility of preschool teachers, there are so many, and many of we have discussed that demonstrate activities to preschoolers, organize and lead activities including manage craft, art and game, observe and evaluate the social development, discuss the parents and progress of the child. There are so many. Need not to read. Nature of work in early childhood and professionalism in teacher education. Yes, of course, teacher education should be given as per the level. If the teacher is in preschool, then training and teacher education is different from other training and education. And in India, there are many type of teacher education. For primary education, there is a other program. For secondary education, there is a other program in service and as well as this pre-service. Next, next is how to evaluate the outcomes of preschool education. So we will discuss evaluation, assessment, and testing. Although evaluation and assessment we have discussed, but as far as preschool is concerned, what is learner assessment? Assessment must always be a competitive process. You know, assessment comes at every stage. It is a regular process. In school, assessment happens only at the end of the educational program. No, there are two type of assessment. One is formative and second is summative. So it's take place at every time. Formative uh, motivate the child to get good marks or good position and good knowledge. So purpose of learners evaluation is important because of learners evaluation. Teacher and learners may aware that what level they have learned, what they have understood, what knowledge they have attained. So these are the why evaluation and for selection grouping, for receiving educational, for revising educational program, for framing policies, for reconsidering input, ascertaining and fulfillment of aim and objective of educational program, and further for quality improvement. Education for scholastic and non-scholastic areas, evaluation of scholastic and non-scholastic areas. It is a continuous and comprehensive. Even evaluation involve measurement also, because evaluation is a holistic and evaluation is a subset of evaluation. Attributes of learner evaluation. There are 4 5 important factors. Validity. Validity means whatever is being evaluated that should be valid. Means if the learner is passed in fourth class, then he should be attained the master level, master learning or minimum learning of a particular age group. Reliable. Your evaluation should be reliable, usable, and practicable. Even objectivity take place sometime in evaluation. One evaluator is giving some marks, and if one answer sheet is giving to another, then he may award some other marks and grade. So objectivity is there, but it is suggested that criterion reference and non-reference assessments should be used for the evaluation of learner. Next, need for evaluation. You know why evaluation should take place for school education as well as preschool education. You know, this is a formal system. It has term and examination and test. So it should be evaluated by this formative as well as in summative evaluation. Summative evaluation and formative evaluation, you know, the summative evaluation is which is happened at the end. Formative means at every stage. It may be in the form of this unit test, class test. This is the example of formative test, and summative is in the uh, last of the session. There are some tools for assessment, observation, maintaining logbook, anecdotal records, and use of technology we have discussed. Assessment of preschool, you know, physical and health well-being, for social and emotional well-being, approaches to learning, language and literacy development, for general knowledge. Assessment is required, whatever we have learned and what is lacking behind. So assessment is important in not only in preschool, in every level. Assessment of young children should include these parameters, means including data on multiple dimension, including data from multiple source, collecting data at multiple point over a time, and appropriate format for documentation of assessment. So these are the four important areas. And these are known as 4 MS. Assessment in preschools. Experts generally agree that assessment of preschool children has a following purpose: to plan instructions, to effective communication, to identify the children, to provide information, and to identify staff development need also. And for that planning, teacher has to plan some instructions and for individual group and social group, sorry, peer group, for individual and for peer group. Effective communication with parents. Because of assessment, teacher is aware that what is the strength and what is the weakness of child, and he should effectively communicate with the parents. Identify the children who are require specialized program, means that maybe the because of individual differences, and for that the teacher should prepare some specific and this focused teaching methodology. This is further assessment, maybe the development and diagnostic, and it is the kind of strengthening formative assessment, making it for informal. So these are the qualities of assessment in the preschools. So this is, although this is, I took a very speed up. So this is from my side. Thank you. I think you have shown very good patience. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank,
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
Mandeep Bhatia, do you have any question? Madhura?
No, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you all. Have a good day.